Lee, can you take the roll call, please?
Yep. C. Arbaugh present. H. Hutton,
Yes.
you're B. Hutton.
I'm the B.
Dave Gallows,
Here.
Eric Polash, John Split,
Here.
Terry Robita, and then we have a guest.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Second, or make a motion to approve, sorry. I'm with it now.
That's all right if you're not.
Motion by Dave to approve, second by Billy. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No opposition, motion carries. Approval of past minutes. Everybody got a chance to read those, go through them.
I'm gonna change my font size. You see how page 2 is like a third the way up? I don't like that, but I mean, what are you gonna do?
Perfect. Make a motion to approve.
Second that.
Motion by Dave, second by Billy to approve last month's minutes. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
See nothing in
Motion carries. Financial report. Again, we didn't spend anything.
Same old,
That's
same old.
soon.
Eventually, we're gonna have to.
We will,
You don't wanna lose it.
right.
Sitting right here.
We got things we're looking at.
Yep.
We're good. Things that I think will be good.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Is there
So
one-
what's the 6330 then?
6330.
That's a long time ago for flowers.
That
for-
Oh, was it?
Steinbring?
That was Jack Steinbring's flowers.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
You
that
From the
was a long
preservation.
time
just,
ago,
actually, you
yep.
should date that. So it's been 365782.
Make a motion, we approve the finance report.
Okay, I second.
Motion by Dave, second by Kathy Lee to approve the financial report. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Public comment. There is really, we have guests, but they will go down to the certificate of appropriateness.
Okay.
Can I
so-
ask for the spelling of your name?
Rasske.
Okay, Rasky. And it was first name and
I'm Greg, no by Sue.
Greg and Sue. You probably didn't tell me. I'm sure you did. I have terrible memory.
So we can go right to number 7, certificate of appropriateness application. We have one, which is 133 East Fond du Lac Street, the American Legion Building.
We're so excited you took this. It's a great building. Mhm.
And the application is for, I will read it. The project description is using dimensional southern yellow pine to box in the 4 columns on the American Legion entry porch and to R&R all porch and step railings.
What's
Remove and replace?
Yes.
Okay,
sorry.
that's, okay.
John's not very hip with this column.
Yeah, well, I'd like to say it right.
Yeah, well, you put your foot in your mouth, do you?
Yeah. So, you can see there's a picture. They are round fluted columns right now. The railing looks to be a metal pipe railing.
And what are you putting evergreens in?
No,
What's a pine?
what we're talking about is just, we gotta replace those columns.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I worked on those 20+ years ago, and it was impossible.
Use
Yeah.
Just
dimensional.
the inside,
southern
and
yellow
they've been
pine.
fixed, but it's just, it costs worthy. Well, you know that already.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're gonna box in the round with square?
They're just gonna square them out.
Well,
This is for structural purposes, I take it. I stopped by and looked at them today and they're in very rough shape.
Yes.
One of
The
them-
bottom's been gone, it's been
Yeah.
repaired and repaired and
Yeah.
Nobody, I don't, has
Yes.
really figured out a way to connect the bad part and the new part.
Well, somebody
Yeah.
tried on the far right
That could
Cut.
have been me a long time
and
ago.
then piece added on, and then the second from the right is actually coming off. I would be scared to lean on that.
So my question is, the reason you're not gonna replace them is
Cost.
cost. How much is it? Do you have it?
The only one that would even talk about doing it was Modern Pole Builders, Tom Schwartz.
Mhm.
And he came in with an estimate, he said this is if we just gotta replace the 4 columns and the railings and nothing goes south, $32,317,
Wow, that's quite a bit.
which is about $25,000 more than we've got in the checking account.
Did he break down what the cost of the columns were?
Yeah, he came in with, he verbally said, you know, figure about 10 for the columns and the railings and the labor to install it. Keith from Schmidt Lumber's found a source, he said he could get the columns for about 8,000 or 8,000 for all 4 of them, 2,000 apiece. But the concern is if you take those columns out, something's gotta support that roof. And if you're gonna slide new columns in there, you're gonna have to lift that roof up a little bit.
It's a little
Yeah.
tricky, we did it.
And who knows what that might do.
Right.
It's
Was he just encapsulating? Not taking the rounds one out, but just encapsulating?
Modern pole?
Yeah.
No, pulling them out and putting in new. The columns are not only for lift, but they're also support. You know, 'cause
That's what I thought, yeah, I kind of.
I was trying to guess how much weight that would actually be, 'cause that projects out 10 feet.
Yeah, it's out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at that, and that's a lot of weight on there.
Do you know these were probably the original two?
Probably.
I kind of thought that way back when. It's been 20 years at least since I messed with it.
Have you guys looked into looking at the state, trying to get money through the historical commission?
The concern, maybe, is that guys are concerned, that was brought up at the meeting last night, there's a concern that the things are gonna fall down. That one quarter of the columns isn't doing anything right now,
Right.
and the one that's next to that got big chunks missing out of it.
At the bottom and top.
And then on the
Yeah.
far east one, that one is, it almost looks fragile. I mean, it's got a lot of weathering and checking in all different places. Concern is if we get a strong wind or a gust, you know, or heavy snow.
Yeah.
Could be a problem.
Sorry,
Bless you.
excuse
We
me.
said that would solve the problem, then we just gotta clean up the mess, but, no, it's
You
not.
can bring the front end loader in and
Yeah.
you're done.
Is the top part, the roof part, and everything that's being supported, is that in good shape?
It seems to be. Now, over the last 2 years, I don't know if you guys have noticed it all, but we had the whole building painted, and a lot of trim work cleaned up on it and that stuff. And then we had a contractor come in, and he redid the roof surface all the way around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, So that should be good. Well, I don't know, paint is what, since we can't put lead paint on there, what, 5, 6 years?
Yeah, probably.
And the roof is guaranteed for 20. So and of course we got the elevator in there now. But we've pretty much tapped out our availability of funds, you know,
Sure.
because we haven't had a bingo event for over a year, and we haven't, I think we had 2 brat fries and the chili thing, but that doesn't, you gotta sell an awful lot of brats.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
My only concern is that, I mean, this is a very historic building.
Yeah. We got a naughty letter too. Did you get the naughty email saying that it's not good?
Yes, from the state, yeah.
Yes.
And, I mean, if there's a concern that it's gonna fall, I mean, you guys obviously know you would probably put up some temporary supports to help hold it up. I personally just don't like the idea of taking away the original columns.
Fluting.
The $8,000, yeah, that's a lot of money, it is, but
That's just the columns, John.
that's just, yes, I know,
It's just
just
the
the columns,
columns.
I know. just me speaking, I'm not speaking for anybody else. I mean, I love that building and I like what's in there. It's always, you know, been a great place as a kid. I remember going there as, for weddings and stuff, but I struggle with the idea of taking out the originals and putting in square columns.
If you go across the street, and that's where I took the pictures from,
Mhm.
if you actually just look at it, you can't tell that that's a round column or if if it was a square one. I mean, there'd be a very,
Yeah, I think
Minor.
in the one dimension or whatever, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
and a lot of buildings that we've looked at, because we went on the internet and looked at buildings with columns and stuff like that. And you saw square ones and you saw smooth columns and you saw posts,
Mm-hmm.
you know, all sorts of different variations. The idea that we came up with is trying to come up with a plan B was to take the 2x6 tongue group pine and actually build a, this was Keith came up with this at Schmidt, give him credit. Basically, you build it, so you put them on like this around the column, like that. And because it's 2-inch thick pine, it would give you good strength this way too.
Mm-hmm.
You can put them together. So the only change would really be that it'd be square. And
Yeah.
the rest of the lines in that building are all pretty much, you know, straight lines.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is you could enhance it would be to box in 3 foot up, maybe, and then chamfer the corners.
Yeah, I mean,
As
that's,
opposed, but that,
Yeah.
visually, you wouldn't see that anyway, probably.
yeah.
You
right,
might see
unless you're
just
up
the
close,
bottom.
Yeah, and you're changing the style, that's a different architectural style
Yep.
than what this is.
So you can get 4 more columns
Oh, sure.
that are
Yeah.
of this era, they're just in good shape.
Well, they're new.
They're new, yeah, they're probably,
They're
New
fiber,
maybe.
are they fiberglass,
Are
the
they-
new ones?
So they're the
Well, you
fiber,
can get fiberglass, aluminum, or
Yeah.
Fiberglass.
oh, there's like a,
a wood composite.
yeah, like
Yeah.
almost like a cement board, but it's a, I forget.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
you'd have a 4x4 or something in the middle, inside.
Actually, you don't need it. These columns actually support
Oh, they would support it,
on their
wow.
own.
Oh, I mean, the new ones you're talking.
Yeah.
The new
well,
ones,
Yeah, the
yeah.
round ones would probably just be for looks. If you would.
No, if the ones that are in there now support it, the replacement ones, those would support it, or if you box them in, the boxing would support it.
Mhm.
So the end result is you've secured that roof or supported it, so. The only change on there, is instead of having fluted columns, you'd have a square. Square columns, but you still have the same number of columns, and
Right, it's,
and also we do something better with the railings, because right now you just got that pipes on
That's
either side.
horrible.
mhm.
And I'd suggested even running a third railing down the middle of those steps, because that's 14 feet across. You know, it's just something a
That's
little
an
more
idea,
for,
yeah.
in case somebody's go down those steps and wants a little more support, or
Mhm.
if it's wet, because a lot of times when we have bingo there, the people go out that door to have their cigarettes or
Mhm.
sit on the steps or whatever, it's nice to have a little more to grab onto.
So it says, remove and replace all porch and step railings, so the handrail as well.
Oh, yeah, we do the handrail, and there's a little bit of railing around on the upper porch there, that we
Okay,
take care of that too right away. It'll all be the same.
and so it would be wood,
Probably not, probably a maintenance-free type product.
We would have to probably see what that's gonna look like
It's really what they,
before, I mean, we could approve, you
Yeah,
know,
it would
sections
help.
of it or whatever, and,
Are they gonna make you put a railing around the porch as high as it is?
it's not a bad idea, because on the west side, it's 6 feet probably, 5
Yes.
feet.
Mhm.
And you
But
got
on
the
the other
steps
side,
right
it's
there.
even a little higher,
Yeah,
you know, so it's not a bad idea. I would be concerned if somebody was to go out there, now we tell people not to lean on the railings or anything, because everything's pretty fragile up there. This is the type of railings. you know.
sure, yeah.
You know, something that's got a little more.
that
But also,
tracks.
these would be squared columns, which would match with the squared, that's what we came up with anyway.
and what can do, we just use white?
Yeah, I would think so, white would be the best.
Is that Trax stuff, or is that something different?
That looks like metal.
Westbury, yeah.
The maintenance.
That's a good, that's a good product, I've used that before.
Okay.
It's aluminum, powder coated, you know, metal, paint
Okay.
finish on it.
Maintenance free and
Oh.
lightweight.
I think if you box them in, paint it, fix it up with the railings up, I don't think anybody would really notice it so much because they wouldn't be looking for it, but it would still look historical, it'd still look.
The building itself is, yeah.
I'm just trying to help find it, I'm kinda in the middle here, cause the guys last night when we heard the estimate from Schmidt, or from Modern, went, same reaction you guys had.
Yeah,
Like, oh
that's-
my.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's surprising how inexpensive the columns are. For 2,000 apiece isn't, I thought it would be more than that.
I did too.
Personally, I did.
Well, we haven't got them here either.
Right, exactly.
I don't, and Tom didn't go and itemize, break it down, he just gave me a lump sum number.
Right, yeah.
So the porch is concrete, right? Is it
No. That's what,
The
the supports?
supports.
There's a, from what I understand, and from what I've seen up there, because we replaced some of the deck boards out there this last year, Sue and I did, and we painted everything. The footings are down there, and then you've got these pillars built up, and then there's concrete caps on both sides, and then the posts sit onto those concrete.
Okay. Well, I hate to see those go away.
Yeah.
Too bad you couldn't come down and go upside down and put the badge on the inside.
Well, John,
No, I brought that up.
when we talk
Somebody
about
said that.
stuff like this,
I said,
Is
"Gotta
there-
flip 'em around,
could they
put the
hire
badge
an
on the
artist?
inside."
Can they, I couldn't hear you.
could they
That was
hire an
with
artist
Otto. That was-
to make it look like it's fluted?
We're talking.
Would that be acceptable, or is that just more crap?
Well, the thing is, the round, they were originally round.
Because they're
Fluted
there,
round.
they're still there. They're gonna be behind the wood.
Well, they were gonna remove them.
No, we're not removing anything,
Just in
we're
case.
boxing in what's there.
I see, okay, I
And
misunderstood you then.
that, because that way we don't have to worry about having a lift to support the roof. At
Mhm.
least that's what and we're here for suggestions, I mean, I haven't got this all figured out, John, you know a lot more about this stuff than I do.
So even if you did an octagon type around it
Mhm.
and protected these columns until money comes along, what are you looking at cost-wise, just to box them in? Is that a lot of money we're talking about here, or?
I don't know, because we didn't get that far, because we wanted to talk to you guys first and make sure that you'd be okay with boxing them in.
Because I think squaring it off is gonna ruin it.
I'm
It's-
struggling with that same
Yeah,
thing.
it's-
It's a look.
But guess what,
I don't.
people just can't
I'm
always
curious.
spend that kind of
This
money.
was a
you know?
church before it was
Yeah.
this,
Mhm.
so it's no longer a church.
Right.
I don't know. Someone told us we had to do something, I think we might struggle if it was high like that too. You know, do we wanna, it's
I
like
like the
getting
idea
your
of the
dog
octagon.
euthanized.
Yeah, if you did the octagon, it still has that,
Would that be
Shape to
acceptable
it.
to you?
Pardon?
Would that be acceptable to you, the octagon shape?
No. The only acceptable, for me personally, the only acceptable thing would be replace them with something
that looks just like it.
just like it.
I think that would be perfect, but
I know, but
here's now we're looking at the money
yes,
aspects from it too.
How
So-
tall are those columns?
12 feet, 5 inches,
Cause
just
that's
enough
another
that we gotta
thing,
buy
he's gonna
14
have to
footers.
buy,
Of
yeah,
course.
special lumber for, to go the full height as well.
This is not on the National Historical Register, is it?
mhm,
Yes, it is.
It is on
Anything
that.
downtown,
Yeah.
mhm.
As a matter of fact, the last piece of work that Jack Steinbring did, I helped him. He got that,
So you're gonna have to get approval from them anyway, no matter what we say, in order to keep it.
Isn't that you guys?
For the
Well,
local,
we're
We're
at the
the
local
local,
level.
there's a state that does it. We're doing the downtown, but in order to keep your National Historical Register for the state in this building, you have to go through them.
Okay,
I'm going through that right now. with
This is
my
gonna come up at the next meeting, can we remove the historical designation of that building?
Anytime you want. As soon as you do this, you're probably going to do that.
Well, is there any benefit to having the historical designation?
Not for a nonprofit that I would know of, just to be totally honest with you.
So if we just requested to be removed,
They would probably, I don't know
think the
how that
state
would
would-
work.
Probably try to talk you out of it.
Yes, and the other thing, I would still talk to the state before you go anywhere with this to see if there's some way of getting you some help to do this.
David, do
To
you
keep
have a contact or phone number or anything? Because when you start this venture, it's a bear to
It-
find all the people.
They're actually not, it's actually not too bad if you
So what would
just,
he look under?
just go to the state of Wisconsin, God, what is it called?
Preservation?
I'm trying
Yeah.
to get that email from that guy, he left his phone number.
Yeah, do the preservation.
I have that.
Well,
Yeah.
what is the benefit for being listed on preservation?
Well, like for me,
I don't think there's.
like I'm putting a new roof on, and I get to take 25% of the cost off
Okay,
on my taxes.
okay,
So that's the benefit to me.
okay,
But this is not a taxable entity.
right.
So, and the person to ask would be them. Because there could be something on here I'm not aware of. I'm aware of a private residence. I'm not aware of how a nonprofit commercial building would work. That's totally out of my realm here.
Yeah, and I don't know either, because we've never
Yeah.
had to deal with a non-profit.
But they could actually help you. There may be funds in there to help you do something with this.
Isn't his name David Rose?
That was Joe
Joe
Drew.
Or
DeRose,
Joe
he
DeRose.
retired, and I must have deleted it, or I can't find it.
Yeah, I can't remember the last
I've got it,
guy.
I just have to find it.
They sent me the paperwork and I got, got-
Jason Tisch,
yes,
Okay,
certified local government, and if you wanna send it to yourself, or do you have an iPhone, I can airdrop it.
I do, yeah, you want my email or what?
Let's
Or phone number or what?
see, add to share. Okay, I'll share it with you, and then, yeah, go ahead, give me your phone number.
My phone number is 920-517-4041.
he will lead you in the
I
right direction.
920-517,
4041.
I'm on that short bus. Okay, so, you should get that. And it's his name, his title, his address, his phone.
Okay. Sounds like it's just email.
And they're rough, I don't mind saying. I don't know if you've had good conversations, but Steve's had some bouts with them that aren't so pretty.
Good, I've had nothing but good things from him, so.
Right.
For us, they wanted to send an architect, one of the guys was an architect, and he had to come to your home and look at the materials and also talk about the structure. But he told me that he was traveling the state, and he was one person, and he didn't have time.
He wasn't gonna have time for
So,
Really?
15 months.
yeah,
Because-
so we had a little bit of trouble with that.
When I put the roof on, they just said, this is what, so I sent them, okay, is this good? Yep.
Yeah.
And that was it, and I got a new hot water heater, which
Right.
there's no problem, and I got a new electrical
So
service,
did you get
no
approval
problem.
before your hot water heater?
What's that?
Did you get the approval before your hot water?
Yes, I
Yeah.
called and, all I did was call and, yeah, just do it.
You
Well,
usually get
ours
credits
blew up in the
for
middle of the night.
mechanical, so if you needed an air conditioning unit, a hot water heater, whatever, you apply, and then you can get those credits. But
Yeah.
again, that's credit toward your tax filing, but it may not apply to a 501c3 non-for-profit.
Probably not.
what is your schedule for this, Greg? Like when you wanna get it done?
I'm just, gotta take it back to the executive committee tomorrow night and tell them what we figured out here, but,
Okay,
um,
because I would suggest calling the state and talking to that Jason.
Yep.
Um,
I mean, at worst, he's gonna tell you there's nothing we can do, and if you change it, we're gonna take you off the National Register. And you know, this, all we do is approve any outside looks, and there's no way we could sit here in good conscience and say, no, you gotta spend over $30,000.
Right.
But if, I would like to see you go this direction first, if you would, and, because it may be beneficial to everyone. I mean, you may actually get enough help on this, you know, financially, or they could even give you some design options of what to do. They've been very good with me.
And as far as getting off, I don't think they would ever take them off the National Register. It's just, and again, I go back to the, like a residential home. If you break the rules, you're still on the register, you just lose any chance of a tax credit in the
Right.
future.
Yes,
So I don't know how it works with a non, tax.
I'd like to
Or
make a
tax exempt.
recommendation. I think maybe when you speak with them, have in your mind a way that you can contribute, like if they give you the best price or the discount or whatever, you can have members install it to save money there and,
That's not gonna happen.
no?
I'm the healthiest one of the group,
Have you thought
and
about it?
I have aches and pains.
Well, I have one suggestion.
Yeah.
Ryan Kane was in my Rotary meeting this week, and he said that they're always looking for projects for their athletes, and they offer them up to help people. They've done some jobs downtown, and that might be another avenue.
Okay,
How, and like a
Ryan King-
GoFundMe page?
okay.
yeah, people like that, people
Ryan
give money
King
to
is
go
the,
down this stuff, yeah.
Head of jocks, whatever, what is it called?
The head of the athletic
Head
department
of
for the
athletics,
college.
that's who he is, super nice guy,
Yeah,
trying to toilet train 2 twins.
I would just first like to have you go through all
Well,
all
I'll
the
be passing-
choices first.
Yeah, I'll pass all this on tomorrow night at the meeting, but then
Mhm.
I'll be passing the torch on it, because I'm working full-time. So not that it's your problem at all, you're concerned with it, but I wouldn't have the time to be running to Madison or doing meetings and all this stuff, but all I have to do is pass it off
Mhm.
to someone else and say, hey, you guys gotta take the torch.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
You know,
We
just
understand.
because I don't wanna do it halfway and
but I think they'll help in it, because if you just box this in and you get moisture in there, nothing good's gonna come of that.
Yeah, then
You're
I
gonna
think
be
you're-
doing more damage than good, and you're not even gonna know it.
what happens with the moisture that's in the columns that are hollow right now?
That's the
That's the
problem, and
problem.
this is gonna
That's
make
why
it
it's
worse,
rotting.
because now you're putting another layer in there, and that moisture in there, what's it gonna do? It's gonna start rotting the wood even faster.
Then the other thing you could do, and I just brainstorming this a little bit,
Yeah.
it'd be to, if you built the column sections like this, I showed you with that little card paper there, is do one column at a time and then remove that column once the box is on.
Yeah.
Then get rid of it and put some vents in it.
Yeah, I would be getting with somebody that knows their stuff structural wise though. This probably isn't something you should just guess on.
What about
That's
if
a lot of
he
weight
uses that
on that.
fiberglass type of
That's a lot of weight.
column
just
and
to be
it's
the round
fluted
column.
with that?
Yeah.
Or,
Yes,
because we accept aluminum windows if they're in the same
yes,
style.
and that was one of your options. You could either get wood or fiberglass or, yes. And that would be a perfectly, either one of those would be a good alternative.
ArchitecturalDepot.com has really great pricing. We use them for quite a bit of crown and base details. ArchitecturalDepot.com.
We all have old houses, so we appreciate the architecture.
I pity you, I hate doing all that.
And you guys have done a great job with that.
Yes,
Just painting it, and it's the center, right when you pull up into Ripon almost, it's,
that's a
Right
nice,
there, it's
that's
a
a
nice
nice
location.
look for Ripon, that's
Yeah.
a nice.
It's interesting, I always look at the roof, all those years wondering, are they ever gonna do it? Can they afford to do it? And then we got it done.
Well, getting the columns is not the problem.
190 is all they cost.
Oh, 190?
Yep,
How tall is it? And how much weight is
And
it?
then-
3 feet.
Yeah, that's, I mean,
Yeah, and they gotta be a certain
so we
diameter.
need a whole bunch of them.
You get five, just get five instead.
Well, you still could use a post in it and then slide the column upon it.
The one that I
It's another
showed you was
column.
96, which isn't enough, right?
I'd picture
But
that over
if
that.
you do
when he
some
was saying
looking in here, you might find it. My
$32,000.
fingers are just not
Yeah,
working.
that's-
Have a terrible
Boy,
shape.
that's taking somebody to the cleaners there.
We were trying to avoid jacking up the roof and supporting it because of the equipment and the expense, and then we're back to what modern rental, or modern pole was saying at 30 grand. So
Shelf.
you might be able to save a few bucks on the columns, but that's not gonna change the labor
Mhm.
Right,
and the
Well-
equipment needs to,
Yeah. They make different bases where you can, like, just for instance, if you slid out the third one from the left, you know, there's certain bases that you can slide it right in, and it's, just for simple terms, it gets shimmed up,
Mhm.
and then it's solid. Then you take the next one out, and you don't need like a forklift or a, you know, a Terex or
I don't
anything
know about
to
this.
support.
Yeah.
We
they-
did that this
we tried to
summer.
well, they make
In
the
our whole
jacks, you don't
house
even
too.
need to have heavy equipment there,
Right,
you got jacks and,
Just depends on what's under the
You can do,
porch.
you know, we
Yeah,
could talk
you gotta
all night
look
and
at
do
what's under
it
the
50
porch.
different ways.
Mhm.
I don't know if the new columns would just snap together. I did a deck with.
Depends on
and
what
it-
kind
it
of,
was-
I doubt it, cause it's gonna be a structural, it's gonna have to
Well,
support.
that's what I was saying, you
Yeah.
had a structural post, and then you went around it with the
Yeah.
column.
right,
So you get the look, but yet the supports on the 4x4
Right.
inside it.
yep,
It's
And
very
those come
tricky.
when they snap together.
yes,
So you're not trying to slide it out.
right,
You put it, because I did it for a porch, I did it, I actually
Yeah.
came from Menards. It's square though, and it folded around.
Mhm.
I'd never done it before, it snapped into one end.
But that's not what we want them to think
Yeah.
about.
I'm just saying, you know, modern technology, there's gotta be a little bit
yeah.
cheaper.
There's probably some, I'd be looking at other generals to doing this too, that just seems obscene, that kind of
Is he a member,
labor.
modern?
No.
Yeah. I guess my recommendation is, you know,
I'd start
We-
with
we
the
could-
historical guy
yeah.
for the state, and I bet you he can send you, they're very, very helpful.
Yeah.
And they will
Well, they've
send
been
you-
down this road already.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
And, I mean, the very last resort would be to remove them and box them in, but I personally would like to see if you could replace it with, you know, and I know it's a lot of money and it's a nonprofit and,
Well, it's a non-starter. It's a non-starter. The group is not gonna spend the money like that. This is what I was told last night.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're not gonna invest that much money in that building
Mhm.
for columns.
I
So,
totally, I
Yeah.
don't think the Rotary would do anything like that. It's
Well,
just-
you guys have been struggling with membership anyway for years.
well, and the VFW had its share of issues and they ended up giving up the building, you know, Tom
Mhm.
Yeah.
Rogers bought it, like, Tom comes in and saves the day so many times.
Yeah,
And Tom's already donated money, half the cost of the lift he put in.
Mhm.
So it's really not fair to keep asking Tom
No.
for.
Right. I would, I mean, I don't wanna tell you guys what to do, but I definitely would try a fundraiser. I think a lot of people are behind the military and veterans.
But there's
and-
all of that stuff has to wait because of
Yeah.
COVID, and he says it's pretty immediate. So you would think maybe temporary jacks or something,
Sure, if it's a threat of falling, yes, temporary,
yeah, they should already be in right now if it's
yeah.
like that. It would be, who would be a good person to call that would do something like that?
I,
A bunch of people.
yeah, there's a lot of people, I mean, I would, you know, there's, Polash Construction,
Yeah.
Corey Polash, you could call him, have
Yeah,
him
you
look
could call
at it.
him,
I'm sure
I
he'd give
guess.
you a free estimate or
Yeah,
a free look at it.
yeah.
Any builder like that in the
Yeah,
area.
Polash does a lot of work on older buildings, so
Mhm.
he'd be a good, I think he'd be a good one to,
So you're saying to get him in there to do something temporary,
just have him look at it. He
Yeah.
may say, man, this thing could last another 50 years. I mean, I don't know. It didn't look like it, I wouldn't get my hopes, I went and looked at it. I'm an electrician though, I'm not a carpenter, so, you know.
My concern
it's-
would be the 8 inches of snow we gotta come in and, you know,
Yeah,
that's where the weight is.
Yep, it's
Mhm.
gonna, you get wet snow on that roof and that's a lot of weight on that roof. Even with it, the sun shining, there's a lot of weight on that.
But John and I both would sit here and say it's just run a board across underneath and a post down on the bottom temporary and you got it covered.
mhm,
Yeah. Cause
Yeah,
they're
I-
carrying a lot of the weight,
Yeah.
but like you
Oh,
say,
you just run one from over here to over here.
Why
Yeah.
don't you
Side
work
and-
with him on this,
Yeah,
fellow?
That's just temporary to hold it up.
Yep.
Help him out. At least guide him.
so I guess that's where we sit. Unless there's a motion other than,
I think we covered it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I say if we just let them bring it back, you've got some resources, if you would,
mhm,
do that, and until you have really something written, you know, where we know what you're doing with, you know, a drawing of it, there's really nothing we can do anyway. We can't approve something sight unseen.
if it, also if it's if you come up with something right away, we can have a meeting
Yeah.
within a 3 or 4 day notice
Yeah,
for
yeah,
approval.
this isn't like you gotta wait till next month.
Right, you don't have
We're very good
to.
about coming in.
I'll be honest with you, I'm looking at seeing if we could just remove the designation on it, then we don't have to worry about it. Once the
And
designation's gone.
that's a question you can ask that man at the state.
Okay.
I do not have the answer on that.
Well, you still have the downtown historic district here
Yes,
to contend with,
the
That's you
local,
guys,
the
right?
local designation.
yes.
Yeah.
And we
That's you
don't,
guys, right, yeah.
well,
Yeah.
it's city council that does that. I mean, everyone has, that's why you do this and fill this out and give the information and then we approve or don't approve. And this is for the downtown district. It has nothing to do with
Well,
the
let me ask this
national.
hypothetically, so if I contact Jason Tisch and he says, yeah, we'll just take you off the list. Then I came to you guys and said, okay, now we're gonna just box them in, is that gonna fly? Or is it moot? Is it moot?
Depending on how our vote is, you know, we would have to vote on it as a commission.
And then it goes to the city council.
Right.
Okay.
And say, let's just say it got voted down. You can appeal to city council for, you know, with us voting it down. That's your second, you know, chance or
Yeah,
whatever.
Alright, okay,
Not saying it's gonna get voted down here, but, you
No.
know, that's,
okay. Well, I'll pass this all on. Again, I'm just kinda caught in the middle here.
Yeah.
Alright.
it's a rough place to be right now. That's sad to see them go, but I understand.
Yep.
32,000, put up four to.
That
put in
just
four
sounds like
posts.
highway robbery.
That's- No,
Well, and that included the railings, but still, it's,
and maybe, you know, again, you could do the 4 posts and wait till next year for the railings, you know. But you guys
We don't have
probably,
it. we don't have that kind of money.
yeah.
Yeah.
We honestly do not. That 10,000 was just a grab out of the air number for boxing them in. Cause I don't know what,
And,
Southern Yellow Pine, Tongue and Groove, 2x8, you know, 15 feet or 16,
yeah,
14 feet, whatever.
I don't even know what that would be.
I do, I'm not gonna say.
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess the boards are probably gonna be 20, well, probably 30 bucks a piece, or
Yeah.
not 40.
Mhm.
We need 8 per post.
You may get the price on this railing and say, let's keep what we have.
No,
I don't know, you
Yeah.
might.
Uh,
Because right now, it's been there so long that there's no
Oh, the
code
pipe?
yeah, the pipe.
okay.
There's no, you know, you're not breaking a code or anything.
Yeah,
But the minute you replace it, you have to meet.
then you gotta meet code. Yep, and that's why I was asking about going around the whole porch, because you're probably gonna be expected to do
all right,
that.
devil's advocate, cause this was brought up last night, and I know it's gonna come up again tomorrow night. What about tearing it off, tearing the roof off, the porch?
That whole front part,
Yep, everything, take the columns down and whatever it's holding up,
that'd be horrible.
you know?
Because you still have to have steps.
Oh, the steps will stay. Just remove the upper part, the roof of the porch.
It's like a portico.
Well, you lose the whole,
Yeah, you lose a, you know,
Then for sure,
if there was ever a picture that showed it without it, you know,
I bet you when that was built, that porch, that's definitely not original if you look at it. Look at the windows.
yeah, those windows are just
almost in a
filled in or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
well, they are, but I'm saying, see what the porch is doing?
Yeah, I've looked for a picture of that, and
Mhm.
I've never got one. I'm looking for a steeple from that church. I've never found a postcard.
sorry we don't have better news.
No, it's just, I'm gonna pass it on and,
I have to almost believe that that porch, because you can get to the basement from the left side.
correct, yeah.
Yep,
I gotta believe that this is not original to the building.
right, because it's right on top of it, too.
Yeah. It probably had a set of steps like,
I bet there were
like
steps
St.
going
Wenceslas Church, you just go up the steps.
Yep.
No roof over it, anything like
I
that.
bet you there were steps going up. There might have been a little something just over a small something over it.
Mhm.
And then they added that on and put that, for the sign and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
So if you tore it off,
because the foundation of that porch is not the same as the foundation of the building itself.
Right.
No,
No.
So, that, I don't wanna, say, but that could be possibly an option.
if you tore the whole thing down and just put steps going up to that front door, it would probably be closer to the original intent of how the thing looked.
well, or you take the 4 posts out and that upper roof, and then replace the railings and make them so they're at least a little more functional, a lot
Yeah.
more functional.
It'd take a lot, that's a lot of stone and stuff in there, isn't it?
So by the time you did that, you could add your post.
More or less, yeah. Cause it's in good shape, there's no
You know
repair,
what-
yeah.
You know what you're gonna run into when you tear that off up against?
Right, there's gonna be patching in and things up there.
Yeah.
And the headers could be shot at.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, another can of worms.
Yeah, when you start tearing it off, you are opening up more problems, I bet.
10 of what you don't see.
I'm gonna go hang myself. Holy cow, how negative. I'm sending,
So, I guess that's where we sit.
Okay.
I sent you guys 3 referrals for builders that you might just wanna try to see if they can support it.
Who's that?
Builders. I sent 3 names
Oh,
to your, phone.
okay.
We're allowed to say local builders, as long as we don't always
Name.
name one, you know what I'm
I
saying?
see.
If we give a
Yeah.
list of local builders,
Oh, yeah,
we're fine, then we don't
Yeah,
show
yeah.
any favoritism.
yeah, I understand, that makes sense. Good.
I think-
That'd be that,
Okay,
good, thank you.
yep.
Thank you.
I guess we have to,
Thanks.
Have a good
do
night.
we need a
guys.
motion to table this and, or how do we
Yeah,
want?
a motion that the application will be tabled.
Yeah, all right, I'll make the motion that we table the application until we hear back.
Is there a second?
Second it.
Okay, a motion by Dave to table the application for 133 East Fond du Lac Street, the American Legion Building. Seconded by Billy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion, or the motion to table carries.
I wish you luck.
Thank you, thanks, everybody.
Yeah,
Yep,
thank you.
thanks. Facebook page, the Haas Brewery Stable. I believe Steve Arball is here, our rep for the Facebook page. Um,
The last email exchange I had from you, you had said there were some more hoops to jump through.
There are,
Okay, so I was just waiting for your update. I still have the press release that I'm sitting on that I
Okay.
wrote. And then the ideas for relocation or concepts for use. And you tell me the direction the city wants
Okay.
to go.
I will explain the hoops we have to jump. I was not aware, I thought the building was always for sale. But first, the city because it's city property, the city has to deem it surplus property. That has to go to the plan commission to be deemed surplus property,
Okay,
then to city council to approve that. Then we can release everything and say that it's for sale and, you know, we
Okay.
do want it.
and if it was for sale, you don't know because the city hasn't voted, but would it, do you think it would include land and the building, or they would sell the building separate?
That's, there has to be a certain amount of land that would go with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you just can't have the building and the city parking lot in front of you. So I would say that it would probably be,
A portion of land.
yeah, a portion of the land.
Who was it that deems it surplus property?
The plan commission has to deem it surplus property.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't think there's gonna be any problem with that. We have a meeting this month.
Aren't you on the planning commission?
No, I'm on the zoning committee
Oh,
Mhm.
sorry.
with Billy.
So, okay, I think I've got this. Then it goes back to the city council.
Yes, it'll go,
And they're not gonna wrestle.
no, I think they'll take the recommendation from the plan commission.
And then who would approve the press release? The city?
Probably run it past Lori Rich at the city, yes.
Okay,
We can look at it, obviously, I'd like to see it, and then,
sure.
He sent it to you.
yes, I know, I have it, but, you know, everybody see it.
Pass them out.
Well, it's not final yet, so
Okay.
I'll wait on it. Okay, all right, no problem, thank
Yeah.
you.
Are they gonna, maybe we really need to come up with the exact amount of land that would go with it. You
Right.
can't sell it.
And
with-
that's what we can do at the plan commission, I'm on the
Yes.
plan commission, so
Okay.
we can come up with
Almost like a realtor.
a set, yeah, a set
Yes.
amount, or,
Yeah.
and then, I
So
don't
what the
think,
lot size is and then what the building's like.
Mhm.
Yep,
I don't think anything would have to be officially surveyed until there was an active
Right.
buyer. You know, so then they
Yes.
knew for sure that it was,
Sure.
you know, X number of feet.
I mean, if you could, I mean, I don't know how much land possibly can go with it, but if you had it where it could be all or a smaller portion divided into 2 lots,
Mhm.
whatever, I don't know. But
Okay.
that would be something to look at, because depending on what someone's going to use it for, if
Mhm.
they just, if somebody just wants to buy it to preserve it and make an art studio out of it, then you're only gonna need minimal space.
Mhm.
If somebody wants to take it and make something where they're gonna have a lot of people show up to do something
Right.
in there, they're gonna want more space for
Mhm.
it.
I
So
can,
anything to do that we can help sell it.
right, I would envision, you know, where the barn is over the creek, all the way straight up to Jefferson Street.
Okay.
That way,
Yeah,
at no point in time could that view be blocked by
right, by
an
anything,
apartment building or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
So that would be my
Right.
thought, straight, whatever the width is
yeah,
to start with. Then if the other owner or a new owner wanted to divide that off or sell it for something else, that's their
Yeah.
choice then, you know, afterwards. But I don't think we met, and you can answer this too, Dave, I don't think we met any opposition by saying we want it kept over the creek
Mhm.
by city council.
Right.
I think they were all thinking the same as us.
So for my notes, he's gonna talk to Lori Rich about the Commonwealth Press article.
Yes, as soon
And
as,
then
as
once
soon
you
as it
guys have
becomes,
that
we're
surplus.
able to release that, you know, I'll tell Steve, and then you can probably have Lori look at it even beforehand.
Yeah,
depending on the time, she may not be the administrator.
Correct, yeah, she's got about a month or so
Yeah.
left,
Yeah.
so.
I think that the city too would have to determine use, because, I mean, I put options in here for either save it, use it, or move it. And if the city says, no, we don't wanna move it, we wanna sell it as is, and it goes with the property, you know, some of the wording here would have to change.
Okay,
Well, I think one thing to look at here, and depending on who buys it or whatever, they're gonna, you would do it like there's been property sold before, but you have to change zoning or whatever.
Right.
And you can put a bid in the, but we have to change the zoning to this. So, and it's contingent on doing that, so I would leave it, if it were me, I'd leave it wide open. And that way somebody can come, okay, I'm gonna buy it, and then you'd have, but I want it zoned for this. And and then we can either yes or no it, depending on what it is. And if we know, then the sale falls through. But I'd leave every option open that I could on this.
It's
Just
already
for the
zoned
marketing.
commercial, right?
Yeah, I would guess it's.
I think it is commercial.
I would guess
yeah.
it's
Yeah, I
commercial.
would think it
We could
is,
look
but-
on the
Yeah,
map.
you could.
It's commercial.
I'm sure,
Yeah.
by the foundry.
Mhm.
Okay.
Has anybody said any stipulations about the property from the city at all? On just the dirt?
No, nobody,
It's pretty wide open. I
Yeah,
don't think
it's-
anybody's got a grip on something
No.
that they want it something a certain way.
Mhm.
I think everybody knows we'd like somebody to take it, renovate it, preserve it, and use it for whatever, because it's a cool little piece of
Diamond in the
equipment.
rough, big
Yeah.
Yeah.
time, big time. Always has been.
Yep. It's gonna be a diamond in the river if we don't
Yeah.
hurry up and
That's-
get something done though.
Yeah,
Mhm. It's been
Oh, yeah.
long enough, yeah.
Yeah.
it's been way too long, but that's how it goes.
Okay, well, thank you for doing that, Steve.
Yeah, no problem.
Being patient with us, because
Yeah.
it's just gonna take a little bit
Yeah. That's how
longer.
government works, man.
The listing conditions of historic plaques on buildings,
I spoke
Kathy
with,
Lee.
sorry. I spoke with the Panair people, the signage people, and then she sent me these. This is an example of what we did for Carnegie. And then, these are the two that we were thinking about doing next. One is, 301 Watson, the bank. And then the other one was Chicago Northwestern Railroad. And this was prepared, like the verbiage and content was prepared by Aaron Becker. So this was all kind of on its way but dropped. And then that's what she was saying would be $1,000 for these two. But, she said in my last email with her, there's one more step that we have to do to get this ready to go to the sign, like where they manufacture it. So I thought I was really close, but I gotta go back. I did get permission from Craig T-Bon, or not permission, but I spoke with him today about partnering with him on it. Cause I asked him if he knew of someone we could work with to do this or get who we would hire or whatever. And he said he will do it, I just have to set it up. So, a little bit closer, but not there.
Okay, that's good.
And then, I'm hoping next month I'll have these for real. And the content's already been approved and the images have already been approved in like a year and a half or two ago. So we can take a look at that. But I don't wanna make huge changes, cause that'll just put me back to start at
Sure.
zero again.
Yeah,
But I do want everybody just to take a look at what we're gonna do, and then how do I order it? Do I get a PO from somebody, or,
probably would get it delivered right to the front desk at City Hall.
get what delivered?
Oh, is it, well, you said you wanted oh, you mean a purchase order?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought meant post
Oh,
office.
no, sorry, what I meant
No.
was a purchase order, how do I actually get a deposit and all that to them?
That you go to Karen at the front desk
Okay,
and tell her, and then she'll write the check.
okay,
I would imagine we would have to approve it beforehand,
that's what I
so,
said.
yes.
We're
So,
not changing it, we're just gonna look at it and make sure that it is what what was approved.
yeah,
and then we can move forward, cause it's been too long.
The cost approved also.
Yeah, that was,
Before you just walk in and say, Karen, I need a check for $1,000
yeah,
or whatever.
well, I spoke about it with everybody last month.
Okay.
I gave an exact number that she gave me, it could go up or down,
Mhm.
but, it should be really close to what we all thought was acceptable
Okay.
last month. I just don't think I have that with me this time. But, I mean, it was all positive.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to keep going forward instead of sitting on this and going backward with this. Yeah, I don't have it. She gave it to me though. And we spoke about it.
Mhm.
I mean, I gave you guys the number, and everybody was surprised that was for both of them.
Okay. Yes, but Karen's the lady at the front desk to do that.
Okay.
So, you're just gonna continue with that then for,
What I'm gonna do is speak with her about what I have to do to get it ready for them,
mhm.
and then work with Craig, or whoever I have to work with to get that done. And then show you guys what it turns out like, and I'll have an exact quote made.
Okay,
And then we'll go to Karen for, you know, the check, the
Mhm.
deposit, or whatever the terms are.
okay, yeah. Okay, that sounds good. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
I know it's,
Let's move
it doesn't sound like much work, but it's a lot of work.
It is
Yes.
It
a lot.
is, yeah,
A lot of putsy stuff. in
Yeah.
it, Yes.
It's hard to be enthusiastic about it when it's month after month and you don't really have it done yet.
Right.
Shouldn't be that hard, but it is.
Number 10, discuss council decision on the Haas Brewery stable. I think we already did that. We,
Yes.
so that, we can just skip over that. New members, Terry Robita's daughter, Timmy, showed interest in joining the commission. So we could probably actively recruit one or two other members.
Can you give her name to the council, or what would the next step be?
That would be, I'd give it to the mayor. If we're in a agreement with that, I'd give
I
it to the
think it's
mayor.
terrific, because she's young, and it would be great to have interest at that age group, and just to get her ideas in here. Otherwise, the only young person's Haley.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I don't wanna talk for her as much
Nope,
as she'd
nope,
wanna be.
I'm not asking that, I'm just
I don't-
using that as a reference point where we really need some, younger
Oh, absolutely.
input, blood, whatever you want.
And not
Yeah.
to mention, we need enough people to be able to have a meeting
Yeah, right.
in case somebody
And I
is
mean,
out.
who knows, Timmy, with her interest, might spur interest in another younger person.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's, I hate to use the cliche, that's the future, but that's
They
what it is.
really are, it's so
It is the
scary.
future.
What are we?
Yeah, I know.
We're past.
We're circling the drain, Billy.
I'm not even in the game anymore. Fourth quarter's gone.
Okay,
So
well,
John, you're gonna.
yes, I will tell the mayor that we would like to have her on our commission,
Oh, thanks.
and maybe it'll get done before our next meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
That'd be awesome.
And then our next meeting date, and if somebody else has any other connections that wanna be on, know anybody that wants to be on here, just feel free to
I had
bring it up.
thinking about somebody now, but I can't remember. March 2nd.
March 2nd.
It's exactly 1 week. Oh, no, never mind.
And it'll be at 6:30, Dave.
I'll try not to be too early. I showed up at 5:30, I was in my old time schedule.
You know what? My mom always said it's all right to be early, it's just not right to be late. So,
One of
At
the,
least you got the day right.
one of the TV guys come in here and said, I think it's at 6:30. I said, you know, I think you're right. And then I looked at my thing. I said, all right, I'm out of here for now. Another 2.5 block walk home.
Well, at least it's nice out tonight.
Yeah, it was, very nice.
Okay, then I think unless somebody else has something or anything they want on the agenda next month to discuss, or we'll just
Not that I can think of.
keep, I'm pretty sure the American Legion will be back on the agenda.
Yep.
I feel for them simply because, you know, he comes in here with a way to make this go away for them by, you know, covering it and giving it additional structure. And it's just such a roadblock to try to get the fluted, and it's a hard thing for people to get their head around.
What is
It
it,
is,
those places are dying off.
You have to know.
And they're historical to every little community.
Yeah.
If you have a, you know, I don't wanna sound crude, but if you have a historical building and if you can't keep up with it, then maybe it's time to sell it and pass it on to somebody
I
else.
have to
Wanna buy a
disagree with
brick house?
that.
No,
You just
I just got one down on Park Street.
Yeah, but it's not brick.
I
No,
don't think they should be penalized because our town has a historic downtown. And I'm-
No, I don't look at it as being penalized. It's
You think
still a
it-
historic building, it's part of Ripon's
Yeah.
But
heritage.
they're gonna be
Yeah.
penalized as a group if they can't come up with the money to keep their structure solid.
Well, they spent a lot of money finally,
Yeah.
but it took a long time to do what they've done,
Mhm.
as a matter of
Yeah.
fact. As a matter of fact.
I worry
I would
like
have a constant
when,
fundraiser, or, you know, GoFundMe page or whatever.
I hope something like that works for them is all I'm saying, cause
Mhm.
The problem with them is it's the age, and let's say he's
Of the
like-
members, yes,
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
as I remember years ago putting up, you're gonna laugh, with a little garage on the side, and there used to be actually the door was on my old house on Howard Street, and Max Heffernan was in charge of all of that. He hired me to build that little building for the wheelchairs.
oh.
Oh,
sure.
yeah,
I
sure.
gave him the door, and they just paid me for the metal,
Mhm.
and that thing, it's ugly, but it's still standing.
Yeah.
But it was only for wheelchairs, and they didn't have that much money then, that's been,
Mhm.
when Polly Baby was just like, wow,
Yeah.
amazed it's still there, but yeah, I mean, that's been struggling for a long time. I just, personally, I would think you'd be able to find a minimally inexpensive aluminum column that's fluted, that would snap together on that and have a regular support post in there.
If it's,
Gives you
I'm not
a little-
opposed to that, if it's the same diameter or close to the same diameter.
Because companies
Oh.
make, they've got them, they're out there. All that
Billy, if
stuff.
you know how to find that, maybe you can bring that information next
I might
time.
look for it for them, just to try
Yeah.
to help them out,
That'd be really cool.
Mhm.
Yep,
because
so what we can find there.
I agree with you too, but just knowing that the cost of what it would be is like, wow.
Yeah,
It's hard.
well, hopefully they can get some more bids in and get.
Yeah,
It sounds like they haven't got hardly anything, so.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's just, I think they were here just to kind of get some ideas. Now they got more ideas to
Mhm.
run with, so we can go from there.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
No
Take a
bad
motion.
I got a motion.
No bad
Motion to adjourn,
I
Billy seconds.
second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.